Successful people have learned that everything is about giving of themselves and what they're great at to the world and not taking it. What are successful people doing that you're not, that we're not, that we could do better? And if you don't take the giving mentality, if you don't find out what you're really great at and give it to the world, what happens? Well, first of all, you don't feel whole. You don't feel good. There's a negative loop that can come out of that. You know, I think one of the biggest challenges I ever found in my life was thinking that I had to go into the world and take everything it had for me and just continue to fight with my fists up in the air laying on my back. That mentality makes you frustrated. That mentality gets you lost. It finds you in places that maybe you're not supposed to be. And the reality is, once you learn and you really see what you're doing that you love, that you're great at, you can expand upon it. You can grow it. You can learn from it. These are things that successful people are giving to the world every single day. And it keeps them out of that negative loop. It keeps them in a positive space. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that really stand out when it comes to being successful and the way successful people think. But you got to understand, if you're not doing what you're great at and you're not giving it to the world and you're taking it from the world instead, you can't be in the space that's really going to elevate you to a level of success that you were meant to have. If you're just starting your career, if you're new in the first decade of your career and you haven't figured out what you're great at yet, it's okay. Part of becoming great at something is doing it for a while, learning from your mistakes, failing forward. You know, the key component is, I think a lot of people come out of school, they come out of high school, they come out of whatever, and they think, I got to do what I do great. I got to give it to the world. How do you even know what you have to give to the world yet when you have barely done anything? I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm not saying there aren't people that are doing it, because I know some of them. I've seen some of them. I have friends that I could put up on this video right now that are doing this very thing at a very young age, but that's not most people. Most people need to find what they're great at through learning, through experiences. And you get there through giving of yourself what you're great at and finding those little things along the way that, oh, I was really good at that. Or someone compliments you, or you have a review. And in your job, someone says, you know, I really think you do a great job, Scott, of connecting with people. I need to write that down and think about that. What does that mean? How can I connect with people more if I'm good at this? I have to develop that. I have to grow with that. I have to learn from that. What can I be great at? It's like a great athlete, right? If a great athlete wants to be great at something, first of all, they have to prioritize a sport. And most great athletes, let's take Michael Jordan. He's a great example to talk about. Michael Jordan was great at basketball. He's one of those people that was probably great at defense. He was great at hitting the game-winning basket. He was great at just taking over a game and scoring. There are people that are just like that. Most people in professional basketball, though, are a great defender, or a great three-point shooter, or a great teammate. Maybe they're a role player and they're a center and their job is to get rebounds and they're a great rebounder. Dennis Rodman was one of the greatest rebounders ever, and that's really all he did, was defend and rebound. I use these examples because they're one small thing that they developed into something that they gave the world and became great at. Now, the Jordan example is what we all compare ourselves to. That's a very, very bad way to be. It's a bad thing to do, to compare yourself always to the one anomaly or exception in the world that's completely different from everybody else. I'd like to think that I'm a pretty good entrepreneur, but I'm not Elon Musk. I'm not. I don't think I'll ever be. Maybe one day I can do work with Elon Musk, but right now I am not an Elon Musk. And if I only compare myself to the things that this man has done in his career, and I try to set my schedule up and I try to do my job all based on the way this one guy is, man, I'm setting myself up for failure. I got to really hone in on what I do great. Successful people have learned that failing forward is natural. It's normal. They're not afraid. They're not scared. They go confidently in the direction of where they're trying to go, and with such vigor and such excitement and energy and all these things, because if they fail, so what? They'll learn from it. They'll grow from it. I've done this 1,000 times. There are videos that I've done that have not been perfect. In fact, most of them aren't perfect. And a lot of times when we put them out there, I might even have something that someone says, hey, did you think that maybe you could do this on that video? And I say, well, let's see how it goes. Let's see what we can learn from it on. Let's see how this looks to the world and how the world responds. Like, there is definitely a concern and a thought of what's working and what's not, but not a fear. It's very important that you go confidently forward with action to learn, because failing is natural. I can't be great at something if I don't fail a bunch of times. I've got to continue to fail and continue to fail to get better and better and better. Successful people know this. They actually become comfortable with failing. Gary Vee talks about it all the time. He's so comfortable with failing that he's willing to try anything. And when you look at some of the people out there talking about failing, you know they're successful. You can feel it because they talk about failure with positivity. They talk about failure with their eyes lit up, with their eyebrows raised, with their face smiling. Like, it's a different way of failure. You know, if you don't get in the frame of mind where failure is part of success, you can't get there. You can't ever find it. It's lost forever for you. And that's a really, really big thing. So failing forward, learning from our mistakes, growing continuously is a part of what successful people know that other people might be struggling with. Successful people also know that you don't become great at something without learning and studying from those that have done it before. No matter how special you think you are, no matter how special I think I am or confident I am at success in this direction, someone's done what I'm doing. Someone will have done it and I can learn from them. Successful people surround themselves with other successful people. They surround themselves with people that make them better. They don't surround themselves with people that make them think negatively, think worse, criticize them from a negative perspective. Successful people surround themselves with people that aren't afraid to tell their friends that they think they could be better at something because they believe in them, not because they're rooting against them. Successful people surround themselves with people that believe in them and they believe in others. Okay, this is the giving and the taking part again. If I'm only taking from the successful people around me, and a lot of people do this, hey, Scott, can I get 10 minutes of your time? Hey, Scott, can I have one lunch? Can we just have one lunch? I just want to learn something. No problem. What you find is if we go into that lunch and that person gives more than they took, I'm looking forward to the next lunch. You're looking forward to the next lunch. Everybody's winning. See, success is something that's contagious, that can't be contained when you're surrounded by people that believe in you and you believe in them. So again, if you're sitting down with someone at lunch and you're learning from them, you can't be thinking how dumb they are, how you have this figured out, how I can't believe that they're trying to tell me this basic premise of failing forward isn't it's the most important thing. Like, no, you've got to open your brain. You got to believe in them as much as they're supposed to believe in you. You can't ask people to believe in you and then not believe in them. And you can't not help other people in your circle or outside also have that success. This is something that's worth sharing. Success is worth sharing. There's a second part to the surrounding yourself with the right people, and it's called mentorship. This is something I struggled with very early on. I think that I looked at the world again at how I could get something from all these different areas. I grew up thinking that I had to take from the world. I grew up thinking that I had to prove myself to the world. I had to show everybody that I was great at something and that I could do this. And every time someone would share something with me when I was really young in business or in anything I did, I had a tendency to shut down the minute I thought I could do better than them. I was wrong. And the exponential growth I saw when I learned how wrong I was crazy. It was crazy good. Exponential income changes, exponential friendship circles, exponential changes in positivity, in life, in life's outcomes. All of it came from opening my mind to listening more than talking, to shutting up and learning, to reading people that had gone before me with open eyes, ears, and mind. Reading Think and Grow Rich. Reading Viktor Frankl's A Man's Search for Meaning. Reading Stephen Covey. Reading the things that made me better and learning, studying them. I didn't just read Think and Grow Rich. I studied it chapter by chapter, reread it, studied it. I engaged with John Maxwell. I learned from the Maxwell team, from John Maxwell and all the things that he had done with the 80, 90 books that he's written. I didn't read them all. I read the ones that pertain to what I was trying to learn from. 21 laws of leadership, the 15 laws of growth. You know, these are things that I've not only learned from, but I've given out to people. I recently asked on Facebook a question that said, one book or books in general that have changed your life or made an impact. And the number of people that are responding with the different books that really changed their lives, it's empowering. I bought 3 of them yesterday. I had never read them. Did I look and say, oh, that didn't do anything? You need to read Think and Grow Rich. No, I did the opposite. I said, wow, maybe they know something I don't know. Not something I was good at doing early in my career. Something I really try today to become great at. You want to be successful? Become great at the successful traits that it takes to get there. Reading and growing and learning from other people is key. Mentorship is another thing that I've mentioned briefly, and it's not just mentorship from afar. It's not just learning from people that you can watch on YouTube. It's not just learning from people that you can read a book they wrote. It's also from going out and calling them, reaching out to them, learning from them. I read a book in my industry on financial advising years and years ago from a friend of mine today who I didn't know back then called Steve Moeller. Steve had written a book called Effortless Marketing for Financial Advisors, and he had written it probably a decade before I read it, but it just made so much sense to me at where the industry was heading that after I finished reading this book, I Googled Steve. I found out where he was at. I found out he had multiple numbers that he had listed. I called all of them. I found him, and we created a mentorship relationship. I learned enormous amounts about my industry, but from someone outside of my industry. Successful people know that time is valuable. They just know that if you fit stuff into your schedule the right way, you can get more done. You can feel more accomplished. You can see more people. You can have time to mentor. You can have time to be mentored. Time is so valuable to people that are successful that they treat it like it's one of the richest commodities in the world. Time invested in the right areas can yield you the best returns in life. My time is so valuable to me, but where am I spending it? What am I doing? Is it moving me forward or backwards? Successful people have a tendency not to stay very long in places where they're not growing. If you're in a circle of friends and for years you were growing in this circle and all of a sudden you feel that it's no longer the circle that you've grown in or that it becomes something pulling you down, successful people will value their time so much that a lot of times they will separate from that. They will level up. They will change. I used an analogy earlier in this video to talk about NBA superstars, it happens all the time. You grow up in one particular neighborhood, you become successful, you go to college, you spend 2 to 3 years becoming the best college basketball player you could be, only to get drafted. And each time, the circle of which you've leveled up to, the people that are there are a little different. If you want to be the best NBA player in the world, your time is very valuable. You can't always be spending it in the very places you were when you were 16. It can actually get you in a lot of trouble. And a lot of guys find out that that's a possibility. But instead, people that invest their valuable time in things, in people, in human interaction that's going to get them to the next level, that's the value. Even competition. Who are your competitors? Invest time in understanding that, and your competitors can become just another person you can learn from. What do they do great? What do they do better than you? What are you better at than them? All helps you hone your craft. But if you go into competitor situations with the mindset that you're just there to take from them and their time isn't valuable, you're not going to get what you want. Time is a great resource for successful people. Last, maybe one of the most important things, successful people attract success. They attract everything. See, there's a difference. I love the definition in marketing that I always use. Steve and I used to talk about this all the time. Selling is telling the world that you're great at something. So if you want your coach and you're a 15-year-old kid, you want your coach to know you're great. If you tell him all the time how great you are, it doesn't usually work. The world doesn't believe what you say. They believe what you do. So attracting is another part of marketing that stands out. You're marketing yourself when you attract. What is it that I'm looking for? How can I make myself the most valuable resource to this coach so that he needs me on the field at all times? What is it that's most important to him? Is it punctuality? Is it just being, present all the time in practice, training 150%? Like whatever it is, I'm just using this example because so many of us spend our lives selling ourselves to the world. Successful people attract the world they want to them. That means they have more positivity. They have better energy. You are the energy you put out into the world is something I say all the time. We are the energy we put out into the world. If we're that energy and we're only attracting negative stuff, we're not going to be very successful. If you find good things happening all the time and you acknowledge them, you think about them, you have gratitude towards them, it's amazing the success that comes with that. It follows it. You're attracting what you want. The opposite of telling and selling and yelling is just standing there and things coming to you. It's why it's called attract. If somebody's attractive, people recognize them. They're attracted to them. They understand that there's something about that person that just stands out, and I like that. What is that? They want to know more. If you're doing that in your life, successful people find that attracting success also attracts other things. It attracts great relationships. It attracts great time. You get to actually use your time the right way. It attracts the giving mentality. It attracts more opportunities to give, more opportunities for gratitude. It attracts the things that make success matter, that make them worth it, that make success actually something that's worth attaining. Here's another little secret. Success is what you make it, not what someone else makes it. So many people nowadays look at successful people and they define success by stuff. Success isn't stuff. Success is what you define as a perfect day for you. If you're doing what you can do every single day and it's what you're great at and it's what you can give the world and what you love, and you can continue to attract the level of success that you want, and you could do all the things that you want to do and provide for your family the things you want to provide, that could be a small amount of money for some people. That could be earning a certain amount that you could do right now and have all the success you've ever wanted. It could also mean earning millions of dollars. It could be whatever you define it to be, but success has to be your definition of it, not mine, not someone else's. Michael Jordan probably would tell you he's the greatest basketball player that ever played. He might. He might still say he has a lot to learn or a lot to grow on. I don't know. But I think in watching The Last Dance, I felt like this guy knows he's one of the greatest or the greatest ever, right? But how many people every single day defined their objective or goal to be Michael Jordan and never made it? What about the people that define themselves to be a phenomenal NBA player for 10 plus years or more and retire and have a great career and a great pension and a great life after so that they can have a family and time and extra things that they didn't ever dream of? It sounds successful to me. What about the kid that got a free education because he went to college for 4 years and never made the NBA? But he was a scholarship athlete, or she was a scholarship athlete. What about the kid that has some of the best moments of their life were hitting the game-winning basketball shot in high school or junior high? It doesn't have to be someone else's success. Define your success the way you want it. And if you follow these things, it makes it a lot easier to understand what successful people are doing that you might not be doing. Maybe you're doing one of these things. Great. I can say I want to be in great shape this year. But if I'm only eating good but not working out, I may not be successful. If I'm not prioritizing my time to make working out and eating correctly the right thing in the schedule for my time, I might not be that successful. What you find is you need all of it. And you need to prioritize it. But you have to actually want to be successful, and you have to actually define what it means to you. So what does it mean to you in your life? How do you define success? And are you doing all these things that successful people are doing? Because if you are, and you don't see it yet, it's coming. Thanks for watching. Thanks for taking time to watch these videos. If you like these videos, make sure you subscribe. Make sure that you like them, share them, get them out there. A lot of people give us great feedback. If you like it, someone else might need it in their day. Someone else might actually get value out of this, and giving back to the world is what we're all about. Connecting positive energy and giving to the world more of what we have to give, what we see that's great is about what we're about. And if you like these types of videos, check out these above. There are so many more just like this that I think you're gonna like.